You will give the people of Earth an ideal to strive towards. They will race behind you, they will stumble, and they will fall. But in time, they will join you in the sun, Cal. In time, you will help them accomplish wonders. Welcome everyone to Caleb Watches Movies, the channel where I, Caleb, randomly select from one of the many movies that I own and I watch and review them for you. And what a way to close out the year of 2022 and a whole bunch of fun DCEU, DC Studios, Warner Brother Discovery news. I think this is the perfect way to cap it all off with the official release of a fan-funded project where all the proceeds go to charity, a project called Project Justice League. This is a short film animated rendering of the proposed ideas that Zack Snyder had for the continuation and completion of really the films in what fans are calling now the Snyderverse. After Zack Snyder's Justice League, he had the idea for Justice League 2 and 3. And back when the Snyder Cut was being released last year, we saw pictures and we saw posts of this little display, this little convention that was showing off all the costumes. And then in one corner, there were a whole bunch of whiteboards with all the proposed ideas. There were like 12 whiteboards with all the story points. There was art drawn by Jim Lee on there. And this was the idea that Zack Snyder and Chris Terrio had to continue and complete the ideas that he set in motion with Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League. I'm going to call it Justice League because the 2017 version, in my opinion, never happened. And Zack Snyder's Justice League, well, I mean, it's just Justice League. That's just Justice League for me. That's my opinion. I'm sticking to it. Now, some of you probably recall I already did review the first half of this short animated picture back over the summer when they released the first half, which still annoys me. I thought it was going to be the full thing over the summer, and then we get to the end of part 2, and I'm like, son of a bitch, no! I want to see the whole goddamn thing! Release the whole goddamn thing at once! But here it is, it will be released this Sunday on Christmas Day for all of you to enjoy, and to wrap up this very shitty year that was for DC in 2022. Now, I do encourage everyone to check this out. It's a 45 minute animated picture, and all of the proceeds, all of the views, and everything that the 4Nerds Network, Nicotina show, everything that they make is going directly to AFSP, the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. If you can, please make a donation. Donations will help save a life for someone who feels lost and needs someone to talk to and talk out their feelings, talk out their problems. It's a fantastic organization. I've made donations to. All the proceeds that I make from this review, I'm going to be sending to AFSP. Of course, you know, I don't make much. I mean, fractions of a penny for every view, so maybe if a lot of people watch this, maybe I can make a bigger donation. But still, I'm going to show their support, and I do encourage you to show your support as well. Please support AFSP. It could save a life. And the reason why that charity is connected to this project, Project Justice League, and Zack Snyder himself, is, for those of you that don't know, Zack Snyder was kind of ousted from directing during post-production of Justice League back in 2017 with the news of him losing his daughter to suicide. Zack Snyder tried to work through it. He worked for a couple of months and then just said, you know what, I'm done with this. And he took his little laptop and went home. On the laptop was the original cut of Justice League, and then DC did all the crazy stuff that they did with Joss Whedon, turning the sky red and putting in a whole bunch of terrible jokes that didn't make any sense. But then fans of Man of Steel and Batman v Superman kept clamoring because they felt that there was a cut of Justice League that felt more like Zack's vision, and Zack kept, you know, teasing fans online, saying like, yep, there's a cut, it exists, I have it. If we ever get the right push, we could put this thing out there. And that's what happened in March of 2021. We finally got to see the finished, completed version of Zack Snyder's Justice League. And ever since then, people have been clamoring for the completion of Zack Snyder's vision, where he wanted to take this. They wanted to see Darkseid. They wanted to see Superman fall to the anti-life equation. They wanted to know why the Flash came back and told Bruce that the key to Superman is Lois Lane. What did all of that mean? Well, here in this animated picture, we finally have the completed vision, and we know exactly where things were going. Now, the style of how this animated picture is presented, if any of you have listened to graphic audio where it's a movie in your mind. I used to commute all the time, and I would pop those things in. You would have awesome stories like Batman No Man's Land, Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, a lot of crises, but it's done with excellent narration and a lot of voice acting, and then you create all the pictures in your mind. This is basically the same thing, except we have beautiful artist renderings based on the kind of chicken scratch artistry that we got on those whiteboards back in 2021. And all I have to say is everyone involved at the 4Nerds Network should be very, very proud of themselves. The renderings of all of these characters, the color work in all of these paintings, that's what it looks like. It looks like a painting on screen, and I love it. And they provide depth too, so it doesn't look like you're just looking at a 2D drawing. No, we have some movement of these characters on screen to make it seem like, oh, there's a little motion here. There's a lot of kinetic energy, and we're moving forward in the story. And then also cutting back to like the big chunks of paragraph and story, and they're reading it for you. But the narrator has such a great narration voice. Like, I want him to narrate things for me going forward. Wish he could narrate my life. I wish I could walk down the street and he'd be narrating my life. He'd make it sound way more epic than my life actually is. When it comes to the voice acting of our actual characters like Batman and Cyborg and Flash, I think the voice acting is pretty okay. I mean, this is a self-funded thing. There's no professional studio that everyone went to record their voices. So there are some recordings where you can definitely hear more of an echo in the background, and it sounds more like, hey, I'm kind of sitting in my basement recording my voice, whereas someone else may have a little bit more professional equipment. So there is a disconnect between audio quality, and some of the voices I think don't quite match the character and the design of the character on screen. Like Jason Momoa has his own distinct voice, and the actor that they had to voice the character really sounded nothing like Jason Momoa for Aquaman, so that was just a little jarring. I mean, you know, I offered my services, but my voice wasn't used. God damn it. And it's not just rendering, it's not just 2D drawings, we actually have some animation in here. When Green Lantern shows up in Justice League 3, when his ring is growing green and he's facing off with Superman and they're doing their little beam, Harry Potter beams crossing thing, that looks cool. And I think the incorporation of the Hans Zimmer and Junkie XL score into this picture is great. You can tell at points there are times where the pacing kind of pauses, or something doesn't feel kinetic, or something doesn't feel like it's moving forward, because they're trying to sync up with the timing of the already established track from Hans Zimmer. Like, there's a moment where Batman leaves, and then Lois is there in the Batcave, and she's crying, and the crying goes on for... It felt like 5 minutes. I know it wasn't 5 minutes, but it kept going on because the music was still fading out, and you just hear... on and on and on and on and on. I'm like, okay, we could have cut that in half and then moved on to the next thing. I'm trying to stay away from spoilers because I want everyone to watch this, but there is a point in here, and it's something that I've dreamt of seeing in the Snyderverse if it was able to continue and they actually made Justice League 2 and 3. I wanted Anti-Life Superman to keep on the black suit. It didn't make sense to me, like in these dream sequences that we got in Justice League where he shows up and he's evil but he's in the blue suit. Well, it's already canon that he's in the black suit nowadays because he's absorbing all the sun rays. So if he gets infected with the anti-life equation, does he really take the time to change and put on the blue suit? I wish they would have kept him in the black suit during his whole evil run, and then we get ready for the final battle and he shows up to the ship to get that blue suit again. I think that would have punched that moment that much more, because it's a beautiful moment already in this animated picture. I just think it could have been punched way more if we didn't see that blue suit for this entire time up until the end, because that's the iconic suit. That's what we all want to see, or at least that's what I wanted to see. I mean, I'll take the blue suit over the black suit any day. Overall, though, I think 4Nerds Network should be very, very proud of themselves for putting this out. I know it's taken them a long time to get all of the copyright issues with using this music, and then getting all this stuff rendered and uploaded and animated and narrated and getting all the voice work together. It's a lot of work, and for them just to do it for the love of telling this story and their love of Zack Snyder's universe with these characters, I think is a very beautiful thing, and I think we should all appreciate it and show our gratitude. We should all watch this many, many times on YouTube. Go check it out. Now, I do want to briefly address what has happened this year to the DCEU, at least how we know it from the last 10 years. Basically, it sounds like everything is being completely rebooted. Henry Cavill is no longer Superman, and there are rumors that Gal Gadot is no longer Wonder Woman. Really, all the main Justice League actors are no more, and we're going to start fresh. And there is a huge uproar from a lot of these Snyderverse fans who wanted to see the completion of this story on screen with Ben Affleck, with Henry Cavill, with Ray Fisher, with Gal Gadot. And it sucks. It really sucks that we're not going to be seeing that going forward. With James Gunn and Peter Safran restarting everything, it really does suck. However, I mean, if you're going to take over this whole universe and to carry over all of the baggage and all of the drama that has happened over the many years from Zack Snyder, from the studio heads with Jeff Johns, with Hamada, all of this shit, it's not ideal. If I was taking over a company, I would want a fresh start too. So I definitely understand Gunn's reasonings for wanting to start over and really just recast everyone. I completely understand it. And unfortunately, that's where we're at. And I think it's something that a lot of fans out there just kind of need to accept. I mean, these characters, Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, these characters are not defined by one person, by one actor. These characters stand for themselves. These symbols stand for themselves, and they're not defined by the people who portray them on screen. Zack Snyder's Justice League, Project Justice League, are fan service events. Yes, Zack Snyder and all these different people, you know, they put the film together. They were the artists at that point. But a lot of the Snyderverse fans could share in that revelry and share in the artistry because they played a part in getting it released finally and getting this released finally. But there is a part in the artistic process that many people don't know about, or at least don't know how to deal with. I know Zack Snyder knows how to deal with this. Ben Affleck knows how to deal with this. They're all professional artists. They're all professional actors. But the last part in any artist's journey is after you've created your art and you've slayed and you've bled and you've sweat over your art. There comes a moment in that artistic process where you as the artist need to let it go, where you need to say, I'm done, it's complete, I'm finished, it's out there for the world, and I need to move on. Just imagine if an artist, say, like Steven Spielberg, just stopped after making Jaws. We never would have gotten amazing films like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Indiana Jones. There comes a moment where you need to stop and let it go and move on with your life, move on with the rest of your artistry and the stories that you want to tell. This is going to be a process that a lot of the Snyderverse fans it's going to be hard to deal with, moving on and just letting things go. But the beautiful thing about art is that after you let it go, it doesn't deplete or eradicate what has come before and the art that you put out before. We still have Man of Steel. We still have Wonder Woman, BVS, Aquaman, Justice League. We still have Shazam and all that stuff. We could go back and watch those movies separately and be entertained and be enthralled and enjoy those things, while also allowing other artists like James Gunn and the actors that he gets to portray these characters going down the future, give them a chance to tell their stories as these symbols and as these characters. Project Justice League is a triumph for the studio, for Nerds Network. Thank you very much for sending me an advanced screener so I can get it checked out and get it done before the end of the year. Please, everyone, go watch this short film. It is worth your time if you are invested and if you're interested to see where this Justice League story that Zack Snyder was establishing, where it was going to go and where it was going to end. I'm going to give Project Justice League 4 out of 5 Blu-rays.
I like it a lot.
So guys, if you've seen Project Justice League, what did you think about it? Have you donated to AFSP yet? I know I have. Please, whatever you thought, comment below. Let me know what you thought about it. And as always, if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel. But in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.